So as people come in, we'll catch up a little.
Yes, yes. Actually, Vrishali had also planned such a session some time back, but there weren't. It was just close to Christmas, I think, the academic writing month. There was some festival around which, and we didn't get too many registrations, so we decided to postpone it. And so I hope. But then in January, Vishali didn't have time, but we hope to see her also doing a similar session sometime. That's again on academic writing.
We can do that, and it'll be nice to see how this format kind of works and that, because I think if it's interactive, it makes sense, but you have to manage more things, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, because even we've been here for about half an hour, still working out kinks.
That's okay.
But it's good practice too, because if online education is the future, it's a good practice to do things like this, learn the skill. Because I taught, and one of the courses I had to teach was computer literacy for children with learning disabilities, because they use technology to learn. And the teachers were very rebellious. They thought that they didn't have to learn it. So if that's the way the child learns, you have to be confident enough to teach a child in that format.
Yeah.
And I remember once they even wrote me up. And now I was just telling Coco that my inbox Facebook is blowing up with messages asking me to teach them back the skill. Maybe I should charge them a consultant fee that they complained on me years ago. I didn't know about COVID, but I just knew that but if you were to teach a child in a skill, you as a teacher need to be comfortable in it. And that was my basis to incorporating it into my teaching. So rather than teach them the skills separately as it was on this on the syllabus, I taught it as part of the class, integrated, and they were so some were so annoyed. They complained to the student union president. Fortunately for me, he was from social sciences and they use technology a lot, so he didn't see it as an issue. But it could have blown up to something. Hello. Welcome.
Lappy is also from Thailand, so the two of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's it going with you, Lappy? So, post-COVID, have face-to-face classes started again?
Yes, but the university just closed again until end this month.
Oh.
Yeah, because some of the staffs are just infected by the COVID. Yes.
Oh, that's sad. So let's see. Let's give it another few minutes and then maybe we can start.
Yes.
Like just a couple of minutes and then we can start, because the first few slides would be just, introduction and stuff. So by then we hope some other people will also join. We have somebody, I think, waiting. Hi, Ruchika. Hi, Ruchika.
Hi.
Hi.
Ruchika is also from Thailand. Ruchika
lovely.
is also from Thailand. So we have three of us now. We should actually do a coffee catch up from some cafe nearby one. Only the Thailand researcher voice meet.
Sure.
But it sometimes gets a little difficult for me because I'm at one extreme of the world and I don't ever get the US people. Hey, hi, Rita.
Hi, Rita.
I think we're meeting Rita for the first time.
Yes, I'm Karen. Rita, where are you from?
You're on mute, Rita. You're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so I'm from Namibia, Southern Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Chinta is there. So once again, we have like some people we already know.
Yes.
Hi, Chinta.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I'm being late.
It's okay. You're right on time.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I was preparing for the supper, so sorry.
Oh, supper time by you guys. Oh, yes, you're 6
Yeah.
hours ahead.
Halo Mbak.
Oh, hi, Laffy. Nice to see you.
So I think Vrishali, some of these people may not know you, so you could maybe introduce yourself a bit, because Rita is new here, and Vrishali, although I know her, but not everybody, because she had planned to have a session and we had some personal interaction, but then none of the others did. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Vrishali Subramaniam. I am doing my postdoc in environmental science at Leiden University. But otherwise, I've been involved in academic writing for many years now. I've worked in the government, I've worked in NGO, I've worked with Cactus. So I've been involved in academic writing and also I've taught academic writing 2 versions in a university in India. So I'm very interested in this field parallelly, and I've been learning for many years. It's nice to meet you all.
Well, this is a pure learning. I'm not the
Yeah.
expert. I'm just sharing the
There
knowledge
is no
I have.
expert, right? There is no expert. There are just some people who have been working a little longer than others, and everybody shares their experience. Sometimes people are new, but they have very good insights. So yeah, there is no expertise. There's just
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the group because of the peer sharing, you know?
yeah,
The
absolutely.
peer sharing. Because sometimes in your classroom, you have such selfish students. And I remember when I started in education in the 90s, we all were working full time and then we were going to the university. So whatever strength our school had, we brought it to the group. So if your school had a good photocopier, you took responsibility for the photocopy and nobody had to ask.
Yeah.
If my school had better computers than yours, I typed everybody's assignment and nobody had to ask. When I started teaching in 2010, I was shocked to see how the world has changed. And people were so selfish. People were not sharing as they did back in those days. I don't know what went wrong. We lost community or what. But it was so disappointing to me to see how things change in my sector, which is education. So it was disappointing to see. And I grieve about it never. Because
it's a bit of the knowledge economy effect, right? I mean, we learn things, but we want to monetize what we learn. All of us are in that game.
I don't know. But when I found this group on Facebook in March last year, I didn't even know it was just started. I just like, well, research your voices, so we get to speak in this group. So,
I think
we get to tell our stories. I was so
yeah, I think Akuli did a very good idea. It was a very good idea to found the group, and I think she's doing a very good job in the group, where you actually can ask anything, because that's the other thing, right? You don't want to sound stupid, but you can. You actually should.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a PhD student. You're not supposed to sound stupid.
Right. But then after getting my PhD, I know that I'm stupid.
Okay, I have confidence.
I know for a fact I'm stupid. So I value places where I can be stupid.
Yeah, it's actually nice. Actually, people in our group are all very, sweet. So unlike some forums where people are always out to judge each other and troll each other, nobody does that here. Everybody
I like the spirit of the group too.
Yeah.
You know, is that you ask a question, you can post something that you're struggling with, and then before you go on back, so I'm surprised how many people would respond. But I go on a couple hours later and I have so much response and so much advice given and so on. I was like, this is just reminding me of where it originally came from. Yeah.
Okay, so I think, Karen, we could start. It's 6:10 already at my end, like
Okay.
we're 10 minutes into it. So yeah.
So write as if you are a reviewer. My idea behind this is to give the inside scoop, because often we write blind, sort of, not from where the people who are judging us, what they're supposed to be seeing or what they expect to see. And as a lecturer, I found that it was very interesting because I was teaching teachers. So my expectation was that they knew what they were supposed to be writing for me to review or read, and I found they had no clue. And so when I did this review course, I remember that idea and I said, you know what, this is my chance to share the little knowledge I have. And Kokoli has provided this lovely Facebook group for me to do that. And I always say to her, it saved my sanity. You're seeing the slides?
No. Can you see the screen yet?
You seeing the screen? Okay.
No.
Oh, I'm not sharing. So let me see if I can share now.
I would also just request all of you to put in your email IDs here, because I have there are 2 documents that we want to share with you. So I just shared those documents over email. There's no attachment option visible right here. So yeah.
Let me stop sharing. Okay, let me start sharing. Could I share now? Is it sharing?
Not yet.
You're seeing the slides?
No, we are not yet able to see.
All right. So I was here when I was talking.
Now we
Now it's visible.
For me personally, I was in a place where I'd left my country and original language. Came here because it had a full scholarship. But I found I couldn't get a footing on my studies. And so I was ready to pack my bag and leave, because every week, twice per week, my topic was being changed by my supervising team. So I was ready to give up the scholarship and leave. And then I came across Researcher Voice and I was like, okay, I can unpack my bag now. So it's really, because the first thing you had there was with a lady with doing mental health and PhD students. And I did that survey. And in that survey, it reminded me, you know what, you have the tools to survive this difficult situation. Start looking for those tools. And then, of course, the peer support. People were giving advice, showing links to different things that can help you on YouTube videos and so on. And that was, that really helped me. And it's my chance now to give back a little from what I've gained in the last year. So when I did this course at Pablans, I did particularly to get the inside scoop, to know what is happening on the other end. Why are we who are PhD write and we're supposed to write, why are we struggling at this end on what we don't know? So in typical Karen's form, I want to do an interactive session. So you'll be doing most of the work. I will share with you kind of a sample of some of the things they look for in a review. And you will actually do the review to get a feel of the other side. So Kokoli will share with you the article and the template.
Don't yet have Rita your email ID.
So while she's preparing to do that, I'll go through some of the things you will see on the that you will see on the slides as you work through. As I said, you will not see this in every reviewer's program. This is a list of things I compiled from both my work experience and the course I did. And so I thought I kind of tried to think of making it holistic rather than just targeted to social sciences or targeted to a domain or a area. What I wanted is that you to get an idea of what some of the things that as you write, what lens you can actually add on to your writing to make you more welcome in reviewers' eyes. Some of them are some reviewers are not very patient. So it's really, and for time purposes, because I think we only have about half an hour or so on, but for you would only have about 10 minutes to work on this. I did it in checklist form. So you have a checklist, so you can, as you go through the article, the checklist will indicate what you will look for. And the assumption here is that you've been asked to do a review by someone and you've accepted. And then you do your checklist to see what's there and what's not there. If
so
something
I sent it out to everyone, but Rita is still, I think, typing. She's once she puts up.
So you can work individually, or you can work in pairs. It doesn't really matter to me. Once you can work and get the idea, and Kukuli and I will be here for any questions as you work through the template. In general, as I said before, it's some things that reviewers look for. It's not a end be it all list. There are always more to add on. And if you know things too, you're free to add on as well.
So Karen, do you want me to share? Oh, okay, you have the template. So you can maybe explain the template to them, or if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So the template, we know they say these things. They say whenever you see a diagram and a book or so on, they tell you about originality and scientific quality and relevance and so on. But what they never tell you is the other side, what they actually look for under that. And when I did the course, this is what I discovered. They actually look for specific things on the originality, on the relevance, on the abstract. They want to see these things within them. And so as you go through, you will get an idea of what they look for as they go through the template. So originality doesn't mean originality and you stop. They actually look for on the certain areas, such as if it's scientific or non-scientific, if it's relevant, or if it reinvent the wheel. So they look at these things. If it's added on knowledge or new or synthesis of present knowledge, they look for these details. And those are the things that we often are not told about. So those are the things you pay attention to. And for explanatory purposes, I put the comments at the end, because in the peer review system, they would ask you to write the comments, what is missing or what the reviewer felt about that area, what it needs for improvement, and so they'll have a comment there. You at this point don't necessarily have to do the comments, but it's there for your knowledge. So any question from anybody?
So I have a question. Karen, you mean to say that this template is what a reviewer gets when he or she is supposed to review some article, right?
Yes.
This is the template the reviewer.
This is a form of it. There are many, but this is a form of it.
Okay.
This is actually I combined a few things that were missing from my course that I saw in other templates, and I added them as well.
So like more or less, it's more or less these are the questions, or these are the points reviewer is supposed to.
In general, yeah. These are some of the points they look for.
Okay. Okay.
So on the methodology, they have specific points they look for. On the results, what they look for on it. So for your purposes, I put in tick form, but when the reviewer is doing it, they actually comment physically. They have to type in their response to. So they would say if it's sufficient, insufficient, it's irrelevant, or so on. They would actually write it out. But for the hours presentation today, you just have to tick and not necessarily do the comment section, but you get an idea, because this is something you would remain with you. You can always look back at it and add to it as well.
Yeah, and at this point of time, like I would say 10 minutes to go through the article once. And this is the version of my article I had sent to the journal before review. So At the end, I will share with you the link to the published article. So then you can just cross-check, how things were, and just quickly browse and see how many ever points you can.
Because in the 10 minutes, they won't be able to finish the entire checklist, but you get a working idea of what is usually looked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can discuss.
And
So,
we can discuss it. So
start now.
over to you. Yes.
Yes. Let us all put ourselves on mute and start. And feel free to just put in your comments, any comments or questions as you go through it. If you have any comments or question, you can put it in the chat as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hi, Saida. Hi, Saida. If you're in, could you just type your email ID, because I've shared some documents, the sample which you could use, and a template, a sample paper and a template which you could use to try out the review. So Saida, at this point of time, until this point of time, we had just had a generic discussion and on what reviewers expect from a peer review. So Karen has shared this template, and if you send me your email ID, I will also share with you. So the same template which is on the PPT on her screen, on the screen right now. So you can just take a look at the template. That is some of the areas in which the reviewers are expected to judge or to assess, evaluate the sample paper. So we are taking 10 minutes to go through the paper, and then we'll take a look at the template together and share our views. I also wanted to let everyone know that I'm recording this meeting. I mentioned that once at the start. I'm recording this session because some people in the group who are not able to make it today wanted to see a recording. We have about 3 minutes left for you to go through the paper. Okay, so the time is up. So I was thinking, should we split up into 2 breakout rooms and you discuss amongst yourselves, or about how to fill the template, or maybe each of you could just take like 2 to 3 minutes and you know, what do you think? Karen?
Busy working still?
Yeah, like it's even reading the article would take around 10 minutes, I guess.
I think we are very few, so maybe we can do it together here only.
Yeah.
That would be
Yes.
great.
Instead of breaking out into rooms, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So then, yeah.
Or you can also write. They can also write in the chat their experience.
Yeah. So Karen, maybe now you could take them through the template, and you know, and or just each person could share what they felt with regard to the template. I'll be sharing the template here.
Okay, you share it, so because nothing is showing up on my screen for some reason. So I will have to. I'll put this in the I'll put a little survey in the chat,
Yeah.
and they will just put the letter next to what or a number in their response. Because I don't know, at my end, it's not allowing me to show the PowerPoint anymore.
Okay, so you first put in the chat, maybe.
So, so just put a response in the chat.
Right.
It show up now?
It's not allowing me to show anything either. Yeah, I think. Can you see now? Can you guys see now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the chat, I asked a couple of questions, just 2, I think. So you put A, B, or C, which one applies to you for number 1, and number 2, you put A or B, and or C, C1 or C2.
So the questions are you writing an article or writing a thesis, or actually the font is too big, I guess.
Yeah, because I just took it off the PowerPoint.
So,
okay, well, so let me see if I can do the, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Let's take a go back. And this time do, oh, it's not allowing me here to.
Actually, this we can do later. For now, we can focus on the template, maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
So you guys can see my screen right now.
So some of the things at the top, you can literally ignore that because not, that is what is good for your knowledge, what information you'll have at the top, depending on the type of review. If it's an open review, then the reviewer will see all of this information, and if it's a closed, it would not see it. The reviewer, there are parts for the reviewer to fill out, his or her credentials, and so on. So those you can literally, it's not important at this point because what we're focusing on is the part of reviewing the paper. Okay. And at the bottom, yeah, we have.
Let's go
one by one,
maybe. Let's start with originality.
Yeah. Originality.
So I have a question. I have a question about the criteria for originality. I feel like I don't understand the differences between some points. Okay, like original information from research being conducted isn't it the same as new knowledge?
Not necessarily. From the publisher's point of view, it depends on the field. If you're doing a scientific research, it's different from new knowledge. If you're doing for example, a systematic review. So they look at the difference.
Can you repeat the difference again? I could not follow.
Oh, okay. A systematic review would produce different new knowledge than a field research or lab research. So they break it down like that.
So the two would be for a systematic review. The two would be the category to choose for a systematic review. Whereas if you did lab research or modeling or an experiment or something, that would be one.
Yes, that would be the first one.
Okay, and new approach to existing knowledge. Reinventing the wheel is when you don't have anything original.
You don't have anything original.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Because I too, when I saw this, I was like, why they have both? I asked that question too. Why do they have both? And then they explained it. Okay, they look at the source of the knowledge.
And same question I have about two, like qualitative, quantitative. Hypothesis means all research is hypothesis driven, right? As far as
scientifically, yes, but social sciences or human sciences would be a little different.
But you would have a hypothesis even there, right? You would say that this is what I expect to find, or you would make an argument for it. For example, when you set up your variables or whatever, right? So you would know that this is what I expect to find, that education will have a positive correlation with income or whatever. And okay, it never works 100% like that in practice, but you really do have beliefs, right? You really do have beliefs about what you're going to find, and that's going to be a null hypothesis.
I think they look at what is stated. For example, there are different, well, I'm in education. So in education, they have a thing they call post-test, pre-test. So you do the same test twice, one line and you show the difference. They would not see that as a hypothesis.
Okay. So there are field specific.
Yeah, it's field driven.
Yeah. Okay.
May I say something here? Yes, Vishali, like as you said, it is right that first you start off with a hypothesis and then you prove it. But sometimes it happens that based on certain facts and findings, you actually derive a hypothesis at the end. For example,
that too.
For example, there are like a few molecules which are basically, I would be turning to my field. So there are some molecules which are active against some biological, ailments or something. So they are having, say, a biological activity. But then when they are like being tested on certain cell lines, and you happen to find maybe they have biological activity B as well. So at the end of your research, you would hypothesize that maybe these are like active against the biological activity B as well. So we can do further work on this. So this course of action may, give you some hypothesis on the maybe
you do start with an original. I completely agree with what you're saying. Like what you put in the further recommendations or further research section is something like this, that my research indicated. But on the other hand, you did start with something that may or may not be true, right? I'm sorry to drag this on because these categories little bit I'm trying to understand, Karen.
And there's some difference, and so I think that's what you're struggling with.
We're talking in different ways, right, about this. So when I look at it, I'm like, what do you mean? So Sorry, so I wanted to clarify that. So I'm done. I don't want to take.
Actually, it's nice, Vrishali, because even right from the beginning, what Karen has been saying that, this is going to be peer-to-peer learning. So, yeah, even Karen has just completed this course. So
I'm learning too.
Exactly. So it's nice. It's fine to, share and to even contradict somebody, because we all get to learn. So
actually, these kinds of forums have this purpose only, right? That we learn from each other.
Yeah, but I wanted to sorry, not to hog too much time, but what I want to say is maybe they should be written in a way, even if you use more than one word, they should be written in a way that it's clear to people from all fields what you mean.
Some publishers try to do that, and others, like, they can't be bothered. They just get something up and they, because when I was doing the course, I found that some presenters were a little more detailed than others, about what you should look for as a review and, what approaches you should take. So it also depends on the publisher and what they're looking for.
So one thing that I'd like to add here is that, say you get something like this as a reviewer template from the journal, so there might be things which are slightly unclear. So it's also a good thing to be able to identify what is unclear, and then perhaps you write back to the editor. So while Karen has kind of accumulated information and made this template, so it is also an indication of, when certain things are not clear, when we need to step in and maybe ask the editor. And whenever you feel that you're not clear on certain things, it's better to just write back.
Yes, absolutely, good point, because the journal I'm currently writing for, they actually said on their site, if something is unclear in the author's guideline, we can write them for clarification. So I didn't see it on much other sites, but the Scandinavian Research Journal on Disability, they had, say, write and ask.
Right.
So, to be on the lighter side, maybe they keep this ambiguity like on purpose, so that they can
they can confuse us, huh?
That's completely on the lighter side.
They're kerfuffle us. I don't know where she found that word from. It actually is a word. She made me go to the dictionary to see if that was a word.
One question that I would like to pose to all of you guys is, say, number 3, relevant to the journal's readership, not relevant to the journal's readership. It's a fairly simple thing, but as a reviewer, how would you guys go about, checking that? Would you just say you are not a regular reader of the journal? Some journal has just asked you to, has sent you an invitation to review. So what would be your basis for for identifying? Just reading through the journal's aims and scope, or do you guys usually do a little more research into what the journal's readership is like? How do you go about as reviewers?
I think the aim and scope would tell a lot, because how can you find out what kind of readership the journal has? Because the aim and the scope should do. Okay.
Should do. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we, as a reviewer, you would have the time to again do research on the journal and find out what kind of readers it has. So I guess the aims and scope would be a good place to look at for information on this point. Right.
But most journals say who they target. So if they're targeting scientists, social sciences, pure science, biology, they actually specify social issues or so on. So that too will assist you. Because if you see, if you're writing for a social sciences journal or humanities, you will expect things as human rights and so on would be the readership. If it's something on field research and experiments, you likely expect it to be a more pure science journal, the readership targeted. So they sort of say it also, some of them, they say what and who they're looking for. And some journals, I noticed, they actually categorize what kind of articles they accept for the next round of publishing. So they say the top under which topics they're accepting articles. I think I saw that on the Francis Taylor publishers. They say the next round we will accept under these headings or these topic areas.
That
so
makes it easier for the reviewer.
Yeah, so that can help too.
So then the fourth one, general comment, are key observations, salient points easily discoverable in the manuscript. So based on the manuscript that you read just now, what was your opinion? If you guys could just share in the comment section, or if you want to talk, what do you think?
Okay, can I give the
Sure.
comments?
Yes,
Sure.
Yes, in my opinion, when I read this paper, it just something like the more of the assumption and then lack of the evidence. For example, if the peer reviewer make the author stress or something, maybe we can find the number of the authors, for example, so it can exactly make the evidence, for example, from for example from 1,000 PhD students, and then we survey they have a stress because of the harsh comment from the reviewers, such as 50% or 60%. With this evidence, at least at least we can make your paper become very useful for the reader. Actually, I understand what the objective of this paper, but if we can put at the introduction part this kind of magnitude of how serious the problem of this kind of rejection or harsh comments, and how we can recommend for the reviewer or editor, maybe it can be better, such as the number, yes, the evidence.
Right. That's a great point. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into the sections next. So with the abstract, so what Lafi you said was some inputs on the introduction. So for the abstract, if you guys have just checked, point number 5, and would anyone else like to share if you something on the abstract, what you found? Is the aim clear? Is it clear what the study found and how they did it? Is the title informative and relevant? Have keywords been included?
May I? For the abstract? Well,
yeah.
To be honest, the paper is not in my field, so I cannot comment in detail, but I feel that the abstract looks fine. I mean, like the aims is there, and then the methods, and then the results. It is compactly written, and also the conclusion. So I feel it looks good. It looks fine.
Okay.
And the keywords also there.
The title and the title is informative and relevant.
The title itself, well, it says the detail in China where the data was taken. So I think it's fine, and it's
okay.
good.
So why I mentioned this was because I had received. So this
title should contain a question mark.
Some publishers recommend that, especially when the first language is not English, to make your title, part of your title, a question. So it entices the reader to read it to see if you answer that question. But I don't think it's universal to all publishers or journals that you must put a question in your title.
So I had received some inputs for the title, and one input which I remember. So this is a paper from 2016. So I have actually kind of forgotten, and I used this paper because it's pretty generic and easy for you guys to understand. Plus, it's my paper, so there are no copyright issues or anything. So But the thing is, the input that I received, surprisingly, I didn't receive any input for the question. The input that I had received was more for, the researchers from China is what is there here. But so what they mentioned is when going through the source, the focus was only on a platform. The questions that I put up was on a platform called DXY, which includes only Chinese biomedical researchers. So they had actually made a suggestion that I could that I should narrow it down further and be more specific, that I targeted only Chinese biomedical researchers, not China as a whole. Like, researchers are not scattered across fields in China. So yeah, that was one input I had received.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
May I have one question about the title?
Sure.
So in some cases, researchers, they don't want to put the specific location or something because it seems like it is just case study. So they just hide the location, but the others, they suggest to put the specific location. So in general, what is your opinion? I mean, which one is more, I don't know, acceptable?
It would vary by field, but even I had this initially. I had not wanted to put this. If you see, there's a yellow highlight on that. As I sent you guys, I saw it was there.
Yeah.
So I was in two minds about whether to do that, because I was tempted to position this as a very generic study, which it is not. So I was, in my mind, I was tempted, because I kind of know that this happens. This problem is there across the world. But since the primary data was from China, it makes for a complete disclosure. I felt that it would be ethical to state that this is from China at the cost of sounding localized. Yeah, that was my opinion.
Okay.
What about others? Anybody has any opinion on this?
Yes, I have. Yes,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's better to put this is a case study from China, because this is a qualitative study, right? We cannot generalize between one countries and to the another countries. Maybe the culture is also different. And if you state it's from, for example, a case study from China at first in the title, so the reader can understand. So this is the case study from China. Even the finding of your paper can also be founded in another country, but we cannot generalize it to the whole world, something like that.
Of course, because my data is mainly from there. Yeah, I agree with you. So let's move on to the introduction, because we're running out of time. Anybody has any other inputs on the introduction?
A less reference, maybe?
Last, what reference?
I mean, a few numbers of reference.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it will be better to put more.
More references.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Introduction looks good. I mean, introduction is quite clear.
But I think even Lafi had said that, if we could give a little bit more background, I think is what they said. So yeah, but I did not actually receive too many inputs about the introduction. So yeah, the literature review again. Do you think it was sufficient, contemporary? Do theoretical frameworks support the research? So this doesn't apply in case of this paper. This is a very simple paper that way. So yeah, so I guess it would apply more for more serious fields, like
specialized work.
Specialized, yes. So then, methodology. Is there evidence of how the research or study is being conducted? Operationalization of the constructs, variables, research design, method, types of instrument use. sampling, data collection approach, proposed data analysis techniques, tools. So is there anything, I'm not sure like how many of these apply for my paper, but I think all three more or less in a simplified form. So what do you guys think?
Well, I would like to say that, this is something which can be elaborated as far as you can. For example, if you're picking up some researchers, maybe you can pick up from, like you can categorize them into in what stages of research they are in. For example, if there some are in the initial stages, first 1 or 2 years, some are like have completed, some are in the middle of it, some are like about to submit. So for each of the stage, the priorities would be different, and accordingly their emotions or their responses would be different, right?
True.
So that could have been done.
Yeah,
maybe.
completely agree. Completely agree. So one thing I will, I will actually, this is a kind of confession. So I hadn't really started out, these comments hadn't really started out as a research idea. So we had just generally posted this question to just get inputs from people. And when we saw that, okay, we have got so many inputs, then we decided to use the data for a paper. And I get it. And most of the comments that I did receive were on the methodology, because even for me, I found it difficult to fix things later, because initially I didn't start off with that thought in mind.
Right.
One of the things with methodology for a qualitative paper is I've noticed in Mendeley, they allow you, once you put you can highlight what results you want. For example, how you spoke of people in the middle and the studies towards the end or in the beginning, and they actually can chart it for you. So it gives your paper a sort of a scientific look, even though it's not pure science, but it allows for that. I discovered that the other day, that you can actually do that in Mendeley. So it will chart, it will chart it for you. So you have to physically type in the information, but it will chart it for you. So it will give your quality paper that little scientific look.
I think it's all it depends, no? More sugar, more sweet.
But that is the kind of things that publishers and reviewers like to see. They like to see charts and graphs and so on. So
exactly.
That attracts give the paper, for some reason to them, lots of substance.
Right, you're right. For example, for example, if you're working in medicinal chemistry, which is my field, so when you are saying that this molecule is going to be active, they want that you have certain studies, not only the bioactivity studies on cell lines, maybe on the animals as well, and then you do the structure activity relationship studies as well, using the computer and the modeling data and all. So the more the material, they become more happy, maybe.
Yes, apparently it makes them happy to see those things. It's good for writers to know that, so you know how to fix, from the onset when you're writing, these are the things you will put in your paper to give your paper that edge.
Right.
You guys can still see my screen, right? Because some people have joined later, so they don't have, I haven't sent them the email with the template. So you guys can see, I assume?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So then we'll go on to the results and discussions and conclusions, references. So any inputs on these? Anything that you'd like to discuss with regard to the paper or with regard to the points here? Are these points comprehensible, or
Kakuli, I would like to make a comment. So, for example, when you presented the results, you presented some of the sentiments of the people who reviewed. I mean, you gave actual, how do you say, quotes and things like that. As far as I know, and my knowledge of this field is not deep, but when you do qualitative research, you do something called coding. So you have to explain how you processed or analyze the data from qualitative research, right? In the sense, you basically sit and code all the transcripts, and then you give the codes names, and then you aggregate the codes. So people who are, it's perfectly good to communicate what you found the way you did. But perhaps they will want to see what was the coding methodology,
the process,
what codes I don't know, maybe Karen can speak to this as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the paper is nicely written, so you really get a very clear impression of what you found. But in a review sense, in a journal sense,
right,
yes,
yeah. Be ruthless.
Yeah, don't worry. But I'm just saying, because it's just the kind of comments that one gets. No, I mean, to be perfectly frank, you have communicated what you need to, but like in scientific.
Yeah, and I had to rework the results section as well. Not so much the discussion, but I had to, I don't know which version I sent, I don't really remember, but I had to make it more tabular, more, like the data needed to be a little more, needed to have a little more substance. I mean, I didn't get into coding and everything, but it was presented in a better way in the final version.
So you mean to say that instead of generalizing the emotions, that saying sad, or you actually keep some gradation or pointers kind of thing, that here to here it will be like one, the coding thing you are saying, right?
Yes,
like
the coding thing would be, it's not maybe it's gradation, but more than gradation. If she came happy, sad, or if she has these broad categories, that broad categories, she will have to perhaps look at the transcripts, come up with words, and then the words classify into those broad categories, like sad or happy, or like, for example, how do you say, depressed or dissatisfied might go under sad. So the way something is said might make you depressed and dissatisfied. That might be closest to the way the person is saying it. Like you could say sad, but you could have a flavor of sad. That could be in like magnitude or types of sadness.
Right. So you grade it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this thing fall under 1. This thing fall under 2.
We like to see something. We looked at 10. We looked at how do you say, 10 responses. In 10 responses, we found 50 codes. 50 codes were classified into 4 main codes, which are the findings of the paper, type of thing.
Quantifying.
Easier app in Microsoft Excel, add-on actually, in the current Microsoft Excel, called Sentiment Analysis, that will do exactly what you just said there.
Yeah, something like that, because those are the kind of comments, when I've read it in my policy courses, those are the kind of codings that they would tell us to do in the classes for qualitative research, as well as the kind of things they made us read.
Right. So yeah, I remember, I did not quote them actually, as you said, but I received comments about this section, and then I had to categorize. So I had to, clarify that certain words. So these words, wherever these words were used, so this indicated sad, the sad bracket. These comments such as these, so I gave examples of what would fall under the angry bracket, what will fall under the upset bracket.
Okay, so that's similar, but yeah, exactly, a similar kind of
qualitative way, not exactly how you said, but yeah, that gave a lot of clarity, I would say.
And also it depends on the subject, and maybe again you guys can speak more to it. If you were to try to publish this in a social psychology or a psychology journal, they would be even more ruthless. Ki, there are 50 shades of sad. How did you use that word so casually? Or something like. They would like to see, like,
yes, right.
You create your own codes, or you take the codes that the field has created.
Exactly.
Or something, right?
So, so this was published in ESC, an academic European Sciences journal, so academic publishing journal. So they weren't really.
They would be more accepting, exactly. They would be more accepting because the meaning is coming across clearly for their field, right?
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Discussion and conclusions, references, figures, tables, others, anything?
There was no conclusion as such at the end. Was it there? There were few recommendations, I think.
Yeah. So the conclusion, here in as per this template, you should state the limitations, the recommendations, and as the manuscript have a conclusion. So I think it did not have a conclusion in this version. I think I might have added it later. I'll share the actual published article with you on the group chat, so you guys can, if you want, just just have a look at both and see how it was improved later. And from keeping in mind that this is like an academic one of the fields that is simplest to publish in, the academic publication, the field of academic publications. So if this was a social sciences field, as Vrishali said, things would have been so for my paper I received a minor changes, kind of accept with minor changes, but it might, and it was rejected by initially it was rejected by one journal, and this was the second journal I submitted it to. And the first journal I received a desk rejection. I didn't even receive any review.
See, but that's okay. No, they're saying we aren't interested in the topic, which is fine, right? It's not a personal rejection. They're just saying go to somebody else who likes you more.
No, but the point is, if I did receive some reviewer comments, it would help me perhaps. But
this is a valuable point what you said, because you have to choose the right place to publish. Exactly. Almost all research is valuable, and I think anything in the world can be criticized.
Absolutely. Somebody will criticize it.
And that is how it should be. That is the basis for future research.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Improvement.
So so now let's go to the reviewer comments section. Confidential comments to editor and all these things. So Karen, if you would like to explain how you guys were told to write the actual review something.
Some review, my course had a point system. Everyone has a point system where then they total the score at the end to see in general 60% or 70% is considered pass. So all the headings we had at the top that you looked at, they had points attached to it. So 1 to 3, for example, or 1 to 5. And so, for example, if for scientific quality, you get 1. References in the field of the journal. If you relevance to the field of the journal, you get, and it's relevant to the field, you get 8 points or so on. So then they add up all those points at the end to see where you fall.
On a scale of 1 to 10 or something?
Yes. So they award the points. So some journals, because remember, this is from the reviewers end. This is not something the author will not necessarily see, because they will evaluate where your points fall, and so at the end they will decide to say to the publisher, this with some revision can be published, and this one needs more work in XYZ area, so to be published or not at all. So they have a point system.
Okay, so that's actually nice. I didn't I didn't know that this point system existed. So that actually brings in an element of objectivity, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought so too. So
and about the reviewer, here are the reviewer's comments, right?
Yes. So the reviewer at the bottom, the reviewer will total up. And then say if it's where it falls in the realm of publishing. And some additional information I have at the bottom is not necessarily what the reviewer will see, but it's for the writer, that you should have your ORCID or IDs and so on, because that protects your writing from plagiarism and theft, and so ensure you have those. The publishers look for them too. Some publishers recently only would accept your login through ORCID. So if you don't have an ORCID ID, they send you to get one. You can't log in on this site unless you have one. Some you can register on the site, but then they will tell you can only submit a paper unless you have your ID, your publishing ID. So those are things to watch out for as a writer. So I know we threw a lot at you in a short space of time. Thanks for coming out.
I have posted my final article that was published. So if you guys just want to take, based on the template, you want to take a look at the original article that was submitted and the final one, you might get a better idea. You guys are free to, if you feel you have made some improvements on the template, please be free to share it with us, and we can, if you want, up for a further discussion session. So yeah, so I think it would be really helpful to know your views as well.
Yes, and we actually planned this for 25 minutes, but I think we went way over that.
I planned this for 1 hour, Karen.
You did 1 hour. Oh, okay. Well, perfect.
1 hour. Yeah, still exceeded by 10 minutes.
So, this session was really good and helpful. Can we have some more sessions, like with some real case studies, if possible? Karen?
Of course. Of course.
I heard my name. Yes. Sure. We can, because one of the things I always ask Kokoli if we can do at some point is to shut up and review. So maybe this is some of the beginnings of the idea for the future for that.
For any case study, any sample papers that you. So one problem that I faced was deciding on a sample paper, because I would need a paper before its publication. So I'm not sure if I'm, Cactus might have some papers, but I'm not sure if I'm authorized to share these kind of papers. The published articles we can share, but then else we'll need to make some changes ourselves to practice reviewing. But if you guys are something of the sort, feel free. We can just gather together, and any of you can just post. Feel free to post on the group that I want to do something like this. Is anybody up for it? And then I can take it up and create some excitement about it, and people can come together. See, we have 3,500 members, but not everybody is active. So at the end of it, even if like 20 people are benefiting, it's great. It's really great.
Right. Yes, of course.
Anybody else has any comments? Okay, if not, I think we can close the session. Thank you all so much for attending.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Can you just turn your videos on? I just want to take a photograph for the group. Okay. Can you all turn your videos on, please? Just for a moment. Just take a screenshot. Is that all? How many of us? 1, 2, 3. Why am I not visible? Okay, I think because I'm sharing the screen, I can't see myself. Okay. Now, now I'm also there. Yeah. Chinta? Yeah, that's nice. Thank you so much, everybody. Nice to be doing this, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.